Hey, welcome to Entertain This, a podcast about movies, TV shows, and video games. My name is Hayden. With me, I have Mitch.
Hello.
And special guest stuntman star Gary Peebles. Gary, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. What's going on?
Awesome. I am so excited to talk to you because we've never talked to a stunt performer before, and I actually have a degree in film. I've studied a lot when it comes to production, but the stunt world is a mystery to me, and I have so many questions I want to ask. But if you don't mind, let me just get right into it. How did you get into stunt performing?
I originally wanted to be, like, my biggest dream in the world was to be a fighter pilot. That was the thing that I wanted to do. And I was also playing football at the time. And so those two things did not mix well. Too big. I had a sitting whip that was too wide. Couldn't fit in the cockpit or anything like that. And so I went to the University of Maryland, started enrolling into ROTC. The first lady I talked to was super excited. She was like, "What? Nobody ever comes to the Air Force and wants to fly." I was like, "That's weird. It's the Air Force."
That is weird.
So they always want to do other stuff, but I mean, like, I definitely wanted to. I mean, I actually studied for the ISF to make sure that I had the score time to do that. And they were, and I went to go talk to another person who, discussed about what it is that you try to get to as far as your MOS and everything like that. And I told him, he looked at me like I was through literally just like, did I say something wrong? He's like, "Bro, you're not going to fit." You're not going to fit.
Yeah, you barely fit in your phone window right there.
And then the funny thing is that a fighter pilot, like a reserve pilot, actually walked in. Oh my God, and he was so small.
Yeah.
He was so small, like just narrow. And I was like, oh, okay.
I've seen crew chiefs and helicopter pilots that are stacked. Did you ever consider doing something like that?
Yeah. Well, they did say that was an option, like doing helos and everything like that. But even if you wanted to fly any of the cool helicopters, those are really tight too. Tight too, Comanches, those things are really tight too. But like, nobody's like, "Oh, I wanted to be a fighter pilot," but ended up flying helicopters. Not to say that there's anything wrong.
Right.
With the helicopter pilot, do stuff. But I mean, I definitely want to. And later on in life, I figured out that it's also a lot very political, just like everything. But that was how I found stunts, because of that not happening. And so I ended up talking to somebody who ended up being my stage combat professor, because at the time Maryland didn't have a film department. They had a theater department. They had a performing arts center.
Okay.
And so he had seen me training in a matted room. I've been doing martial arts for a really long time, and he said that I should help him, like, make fight stuff for the actors in the theater department. And I was like, "Huh? What do you mean?" And he was like, "So you just basically just be fighting all day?" And I was just like, "Cool," because I had no idea what I was going to do, direct, or anything else, because this whole thing that I had in my head was gone now. So I had to go to my student advisor, switch majors. Again, second look I got with 3 heads.
Was what?
Because you want to go from aerospace engineering to theater.
Oh, that's quite a change. Yeah.
Huge jump. But I mean, it led me to where I'm at.
So you said Maryland, right?
Yeah, Maryland University. Yep.
Okay. And so since you've joined, has the stunt scene, have you had to relocate to grow in the stunt scene, or has it grown where you're in Maryland? Yeah.
No, well, see, I went to school. I live in Atlanta now. I moved from Maryland, DC area in 2015. I've been down here. This will be my 11th year.
Wow. Okay.
Living down. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
I moved there 2015, and it's been very beneficial. So, I would say. So I did my first movie. I did in Maryland, which is a independent film, and that's how I got into the movie. But after that, the only thing that was really there at the time was House of Cards.
Okay. Did you have any formalized training starting out, or was it just kind of like, "Hey, do a flip"? How's that work?
Hey, do a flip.
Yeah.
No, see, there was the more I began to pursue stunts out of college. You know, there was that time in between where it was just like this lull, and I, you know, found other work, and it became very lucrative, and it was very financially stable, and I was just like, maybe I want to do this.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just, and then, you know, a good friend of mine said, you know, I told her about wanting to do stunts, and she's just like, you should go back to that.
Okay.
And I was like, and as soon as she said that, it became very loud.
Yeah.
Like super loud. And so doors started to open from there. I met people who trained in stunts, who were training in stunts. And I met a guy named Jeff Wilhelm who would eventually end up being my first boss. He trained me on how to do fire burns and how to do wire guts. He built his own pneumatic ratchet. He taught me about falls. He taught me set etiquette. Him and a guy named Matthew Staley.
Right.
A guy in New York. And the thing, you have to have mentors. But I ended up getting my first actual stunt job before the first film at Six Flags America.
Okay.
Doing their pirate stunt show.
Okay. Did you have to like do zip lines and swashbuckle or whatever?
Well, I would have destroyed that zip line. No, I didn't get to do the zip line. But there was a zip line. There was a zip line. No, I was 30. I was 30 when I got my first stunt job.
Wow.
Yeah, I was already 30. I was the oldest one there. But luckily, I was still in shape, still do everything, you know, that the younger performers could do. But
yeah, you look like you went downhill from there.
Yeah. But his tutelage afterwards. So after, I only did one season there.
Yeah.
And from there, he had a bunch of mats. He had access to this huge warehouse where we could, you know, he taught me about rigging. He taught me what a stand set was, what a 2-to-1 was. Just things to put me on the correct path. And there was 3 actors who wanted to make a movie about vampires.
Zombies and vampires.
Or no, I'm sorry, not vampires. Clown pyre. They were clown vampires.
Clown vampire. That's a mix right
clown
there.
Vampire.
What's this movie called?
Clown vampire. Called The Night Watchman. Night Watchman.
Okay.
And if you look it up, you'll see a picture of a giant clown in front of, like, behind 3 security guards and a lady, and the giant clown is me.
Yeah, the giant clown is you?
The giant clown is me.
Wow, that's a lot of time in makeup, it looks like.
Yeah, it was about 3 hours, but it was very fun.
So,
but that movie got me into the union.
We'll be right back.
Ever wondered what a rhythm-based stealth game with dinosaurs might look like? Or a farming sim in space with zombies? Welcome to the Gaming Blender podcast. I'm Matt, and with my co-host Scott, we take a random game genre and random game mechanics, blend them all up, and pitch wild, totally hypothetical games you've never heard of, and maybe shouldn't. New episodes every other week. Hit play and unleash your inner game dev. No coding required. Search the Gaming Blender on your favorite podcast app now.
yeah. So, and you had already been trained at this point on set etiquette, like you said. At least, I'm sure every set's different, but
every set's different. Yeah,
you knew how to communicate.
Every set's different. Well, so the thing is the guy who trained me on all of those things ended up being the stunt coordinator for that movie.
Okay.
And he was like, "Well, I'm bringing my guys into this, and they want to get casted." And that's the only thing that we wanted, because in order to have the lucrative careers that we've had, we needed to be able to be amongst those people.
Yeah.
So they didn't have the budget to keep us on for the entire time. We filmed about a month and a week. They didn't have the budget to keep us on the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So we got one day on the G. And the G is like the SAG sign-in and sign-out sheet.
Okay.
Everything else is like contracted work. You filled out a time sheet. You got paid for it.
Gotcha.
But I mean, like, that was, so we ended up, the reason that we got that film was we did a trailer for them to raise money for funding.
Okay.
And from that trailer, I think they raised like $1.5 million.
No way. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Did you
So
guys
that's how we
showcase a
ended
lot
up.
of stunts in that trailer?
We did. He showed his capabilities as far as getting actors of vampires to like do leaps and bounds over a railing, what they call a drag or jerk back or anything like that. One of the actors in the film, there's mist and everything behind him.
Yeah.
And on a 3-2 count one, he hits the button and the guy gets dragged back and leaves the blood streaks across the floor. And so from that, they were just like, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
We should definitely invest in this. And so they did.
That's wild. Wire work is so scary. I watched that documentary with that kid from Harry Potter, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that stuff. It's just, and honestly, like stunt performance as a whole, like I said, I don't know much about it. Kind of like I don't know, an interest kind of angle other than like, formalized film education, but stunt performance has come a long way in just like the past 20 years. Like whereas stuff in the 70s was just dudes they hired off the streets to like jump over burning buildings and whatnot. Does that sound about right?
I think there was, so it was, I would say that it was probably more close-knit then.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that it's not close-knit now, but just talking to some of the guys that were around in the 70s or in the like 80s, some of these guys that we've seen in some of these great movies that we've seen like Waterworld or Terminator or even like if you think about Terminator 2, Terminator 2. Terminator 2, there's a white guy and a black guy who John Connor is like teasing or whatever. And one of the guys in that, the black guy, Gus Williams, ended up working for him.
No way. That's wild.
This is crazy. Yeah. I ended up working for a guy that I went to go see. I was just like, this is crazy. He was talking about it. And I was like, wait, were you? And he was like, yeah, that was me. And he worked in the movie Necessary Roughness too.
No way.
And I was just like, this is blowing my mind.
Yeah, you gotta try and keep it together and be like, that's cool. That's cool. I'm not gonna freak out or anything.
Not gonna freak out. No.
But stunt, I know stunts obviously are protected and there's unions and stuff nowadays, but like I think like stunt performers were one of the last organizations in film to have a union protection. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's wild because you're the guys who are breaking your bodies for the films,
Yeah. Like you can. It's a lot. I don't want to say it's harder to do to have, but everything is so very well calculated now, as much as it can be. Of course, you have these moments where things can happen that are unforeseen, but I mean, there's so much preparation. Like even before we film a stunt or a fight, we've rehearsed it, filmed it,
right?
Filmed it at the angles that are going to be probably used in the film, unless the DC or the director has some other idea. So I mean, we've already dialed it in. So by the time it comes to shoot days, there's no guesswork.
Yeah,
there's literally no guesswork. It's just like,
there's science in it now. I watched the thing on Die Hard, and they were just like walking into a room and be like, all right, we got to shoot, and camera's going hot in like 15 minutes. Let's figure out how we're going to beat each other up for it, And I couldn't imagine that level of just like, blasé when it comes to making a movie, which Die Hard's great. Don't get me wrong, but like the amount of coordination and protection for today that you guys got to go through. I totally understand it. That being said, I'm sure you've had some on-set injuries and stuff before.
Luckily, I haven't had too many.
That's good. That's awesome.
I've been very fortunate enough to not have. I mean, so there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. Being injured will take you out. Getting hurt, yes, sometimes.
Yeah.
I remember on Infinity War, I had to do like 7 or 8 dead man. And so a dead man is where you're hooked up to a line. Uh-huh. It's not necessarily it's a wire gag, but it's not like you're getting hit on a button or a hand pulling. So it's literally just a line hooked up to a stake that's driven into the ground maybe about 4 or 5 feet, because the stake is about that long and it's got jagged edges so it doesn't come out. The first one I ripped it out.
I bet.
And so I'm waiting for this thing to catch. And it's not catching. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be on the ground. I'm like, Gary, stop. And this thing is just dangling behind me. I'm like, oh, okay. So he takes it back, and he's got two hammers. Bang, bang. And so the first one I do, it doesn't catch really well. And this is my first time ever doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's going to take more for me to make this line catch and go down with the kind of force that they want to see. So I'm not going to just be able to run straight and have it catch me and throw me backwards. I'm going to have to jump. So what I do is I run, I jump, I pick a point up in the sky, and I look at that point and I throw my hips up, and it yanks me so hard back to the ground. My feet touch on the other side. And some corner is like, oh my God! Mind you, this is Sam Hargrave, who is the second unit director for this, who's also one of the first original Captain America doubles. So this guy's seen and done it all.
Yeah.
So, but I had to do that move probably about 7 or 8 times. And the assistant coordinator was like, Gary, how many more you got in you? And I was like, how many more do you need? And my eyes are just like,
you're all dazed and confused.
Yep. I'm like, however more do you need? That's the number I got.
That's the right answer, I guess.
With stunts, what do you do to like prepare yourself besides, just staying physically fit? What do you do to prepare yourself? Because like athletes, they get hurt in a game. They get like a week of, he got turf toe, so he's out for 3 weeks just resting. So like, what do you do? Like, so, if you get hurt or, just the bruises and the everything, how do you keep up when you have to shoot today and then go do another stunt tomorrow?
Epsom salt baths.
Yeah. You literally all the things that they do with the least amount of care. Literally, because we don't have the same trainers, we don't have the same access to those kind of people being like, hey man, you are a professional athlete but you have to be like a jack of all trades and a master of all of those too,
right?
As opposed to being the football player who has access to the trainers. Once you get hurt or you have a bruise or something like that, you got to go right back out there and do the exact same thing. Maybe tomorrow, if they didn't get to it, you got to do that exact same thing again. Or if they didn't catch it from that angle that they wanted, you got to go out there and do that exact same thing again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and
overdose on Advil.
Yeah. Take all the painkillers. I could imagine the next morning having to wake up. I get beat up just from doing some military training, and that's my week. So the stuff that you got to do, but also, like I would assume that stunt performance is, obviously a risky job and everything, but there's not a lot of people out there that can do your job, but there are other people. And if somebody's not up to the task, you can be replaced just like that. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. It's very accurate. I will say that you want to be, you don't want to take work from anybody else.
Right.
But you want there to be an even balance of being the first choice and the only choice.
Okay.
If you're the first choice, that means that there are other choices behind you. If you're the only choice, that either means you're the best or there was nobody else available.
Right.
And you were the only person.
Okay.
So it's like that even balance of being the first choice and the only choice. So you prepare for that gray area of in between, knowing that, hey, this is our guy, this is our girl, this is the only person that we want to be able to, this is the person that we trust to be able to do this. Now, if you physically can't do it, then yes, somebody else has to come in and do it. And 9 times out of 10, you can, either the coordinator will find somebody or you can recommend somebody that is able to do something comparable to what it is that you're doing. But when it comes down to it, you want to be as valuable to the profession, to the art as possible. So people aren't always, it's the coordinator's job, of course, to have those contingencies, but you want to make it so you don't have to have them. You know?
And you want to do that without killing yourself too. So like that's
100%.
There's got to be a line too where you're just like, no, I'm not, I'm not going to be doing that. Who's pushing you across that line? Is it the director? Is it the stunt coordinator? Because clearly the stunt coordinator should know.
Yeah. So for particular, there was one show that I did where the director and the producers did not want us to wear helmets on motorcycles because that state didn't have a helmet law. So they were just like, oh, it's going to be cool. It was like, they're all, I guess it was the English, but he was like, oh, they're going to look like a bunch of wankers with helmets on. And just like, it's a motorcycle guy. It's like wanks with a helmet on.
Yeah.
It's not, it's a whole vibe. Like the whole thing is a vibe. Like, you see behind me, I got a bunch of motorcycle gear right there.
Yeah. I'm sure you always wear your helmet.
So every time.
Yeah.
So you just told him, like, you just be on the other motorcycle.
Yeah. What ended up happening was the stunt coordinator ended up fighting for us and saying, no, they're going to wear helmets, in which they wanted us to do a scene that required us to do like a serpentine through these Jersey walls on dirt and gravel with sport bike tires. And I ended up losing control in the dirt and running headfirst into an excavator.
But you had your helmet on, though, right?
If I didn't have a helmet on, we would not be having this conversation.
I believe it. Yeah. Well, hopefully their tune changed a little after that. So.
Oh man, yeah. And let me tell you something about how some people think immediately.
Okay.
After something like that happens. So I hit this excavator head first, at least 22 miles an hour. I slip off. I slide in the dirt. I come to a stop, and I'm like, hands working?
Yeah.
Hands working?
Yeah.
Feet are working? I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not paralyzed. And so I sit up. Coordinator comes over. Gary, are you okay? Yeah, I'm good. Am I fired?
That wouldn't have been my first thought.
He's like, yep. Yeah. My first thought was, am I fired? He's like, no, but you're going to the hospital. So on my coordinator, on my boss's orders, I get up and I start walking toward the hospital. I have no idea where the hospital is. I'm just doing what he says. He's like, no, get in the ambulance.
At least they had an ambulance there. So
yeah. Whenever they usually, when they have something like that, they usually have an ambulance and EMS or fire on standby.
Who gets the final say on dangerous stunts? Is it the stunt coordinator, or is it the director or producer or something?
So the stunts usually get the final okay from the stunt coordinator. We have to make it safe.
Okay.
And the final part of that, the final person who signs off on that is the stunt coordinator. Stunt coordinator tells the director, we got this dialed in. And so from that point, it's up to us as a performer to deliver good on that which he has given to the, or she has given to the director.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. I never like, if I was in the hot seat as a director or something like that, like, would I feel like a person could, endure, but with no experience whatsoever in the stunt world? Why am I the guy?
Oh yeah. So sometimes you get directors who literally think we are built from like whatever meteors are made of. There's like those guys. They can
punch them for real. Punch them for real.
Yeah. And sometimes I've been punched for real.
I bet.
And I'll tell an actor or actress, and I'm like, look, this isn't going to work unless you hit me.
Man.
Like, I need you to hit me. And so, it's not going to work because, they're trying their heart that you can see that they want to make this work, and something's just not reading on camera. So sometimes you have to make those sacrifices. And the things that they don't forget, you got to make those sacrifices. Like, hey, hit me. Like, hit me.
You take that hit.
I'm like, no, do it. Yeah. Do it.
The director's like, that was great. Let's get 3 more of those.
Yeah. No. You have to know that if you tell them to do that you're going to have to do it more. So, yeah.
I hope you get paid a lot.
It's the ones that you don't know. It's the ones that you don't know is coming that suck the most.
Yeah.
One show, yeah.
It's like in Sucker
Punch.
One
actor, one time. Yeah, one actor threw one of the cleanest left hooks, and it just grazed the tip of my nose.
Really?
And I was just like, yeah, I was like, if he does that again, it's going to be a great shot. And I thought to myself, if he's not, he's going to hit me in the face. And he hit me in the face. And he freaked out. And he was like, and I was like, keep going, because if you don't, I'm going to pass out. he just grabbed my face like a very concerned parent. And I'm just like, going down.
Wow.
But they kept the shot.
Well, that's good. I would be like, I guess from your standpoint, it would be almost more upsetting if they ruin the take because they're so concerned about them hurting you that you gotta A, lose that take, and B, do it again. So just man up and take it.
That's what I was trying to avoid.
Yeah. Man, that's a wild life. So, like, what is what are the unions, the groups and stuff that you guys are a part of to protect yourself? I know in Georgia, there's not a lot, isn't there?
No, it's we're all under the SAG umbrella, SAG-AFTRA umbrella.
Okay, so SAG incorporates stunts as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Yep. What about acting for stunts? Like, I've seen some kind of goofy pinwheel, Jackie Chan stuff in the past where a guy gets hit and he just way overacts for it. How do you guys teach for that kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. So what we try to do, or what we've tried to do, was talking to another coordinator I was working for before, who I actually used to like look up to as a kid because we were on the same competition circuit in martial arts.
Really?
And then they were becoming a stunt performer. And the last time I worked for him, I didn't get a chance to tell him, but this time I told him, I used to watch you as a kid. I need to tell you. Like, I was little when you were competing, and I was just like, oh, man, that's so cool. And so he was telling me about that particular time, even in America, where the Hong Kong style of fighting, which was, the over-the-top moves, big twist, huge, what they call in China, wuxia, which is like crouching tiger, hidden dragon kind of stuff.
Right.
And it was just like, that had its time, but now everybody wants something that, the word that I keep hearing now is like, oh, it should look messy. It should look more like real life. Like, we want it real life. We could, on YouTube, look at it.
Yeah.
It's real life. People very uncoordinated. I'm like, what you're trying to do is trying to create this organized chaos a lot.
Yeah.
So there's like this even balance of you want the wreck, what we call falling.
Mm-hmm.
You want the wreck to match the force that is supposed to produce it. But you also want to like make it cool or make it fun or whatever.
Right.
So so now it's that finding that even balance of, does the wreck make sense for what it is that I'm being hit with? And it all depends on if you have like the superhero movies or somebody's super duper strong,
right?
Or if you get hit with one uppercut, you're not going to get thrown into a back three quarters.
Yeah, getting punched by Rocky is completely different than getting punched by Superman. Yeah. So
right, exactly.
Right.
So, but yeah, so it's you can always go big and then get smaller from there. So you don't ever want to tell you that, hey, make your reaction bigger.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah.
Interesting. And I assume the stunt world is not as compartmentalized today as it used to be. I feel like the practical effects and the acting, like you kind of need to know a little bit of everything in order to pull off an appropriate stunt for whatever. Is there like a weird story or something that you can think of where it just, you had to reach far out of your wheelhouse to perform a stunt?
Oh, yeah. So there was one time I had to be a drag queen.
A drag queen? All right. That is a good story. I'd like to hear this.
Yeah. Yeah. So a coordinator, also a friend of mine, called me and he was just like, hey, I want you to read for this character whose name is Bunny. Uh-huh. He's exactly how you think he is. I was like, okay. and I even having a theater degree and theater background, try to shy away from acting as much as possible.
Okay.
Because it was scary to me. It was something that was terrifying. And I consider that the hard job.
Yeah.
But all of the stunt acting roles that I've gotten is because somebody literally said, "Hey, you're going to say this right here." And I was like, "Excuse me, what?" I don't say words. Like the first stunt acting role that I got, the director slipped me what he wanted me to say on a piece of paper. He didn't look at me when he did it. He said, "Here, say this," and pushed it to me on a piece of paper. And so I grabbed the paper and I said it. He said, "No, wait for the stunt to go on." I was like, "Fuck no."
Really?
And that's how I ended up saying, the first lines that I ever had on screen in the movie Superfly. So,
no way. So explosions and cable work and guns and punching, you can do that all day, but having to emote to a camera, that's not not your jam.
But the thing is, the good thing about that particular character was that it was in a gang, and so I discussed this with the coordinator and the director at the time. And I said, this particular character doesn't have a name, but I think it was more of the persona. I was like, this particular character doesn't seem like he's swayed by money or the girls or anything like that, or the notoriety, or just like being loud and lavish. Like, he has a duty and a purpose, his protection. He's always on point. He's always looking. He's always watching. And they were like, "Yeah, that's exactly who this character is."
Okay.
And like everybody else is having fun, and you're just like on alert all the time. And I was like, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But for Bunny, that was completely different.
Yeah. Did you have to come up with a voice and stuff?
I did. I literally just did what my mother would do and say what my mother would have said.
All right.
How she would have said it.
All right.
In that particular instance. And that was it. That was how and the thing is, the director was so against having a stunt person do it. They wanted to try to find someone, but it was a very specific kind of character. The character needed to be muscular, needed to be a drag queen, also needed to have some kind of fight prowess. And I was going to double that person.
Yeah.
They had some promising people, but nobody could fit all of the bills that they had.
Right.
And so I was just like,
you matched 2 out of 3 of them.
Yeah. I was just like, I'll just be my mom. That was it. And so, you know, the director was just like, okay, we'll give him a shot. Until he watched the audition tape. He was like, I love it. So, ended up being a very fun shoot. That was the longest acting role that I had. It was like, 6 pages of lines with a whole fight scene going through walls and everything.
That's why they wanted a stunt guy because it was just too much fighting. Okay.
Yeah, and then they didn't have to pay 2 people.
That's true. That's true. So that's insane, huh? Now that you've done a little bit of acting, do you feel more comfortable kind of doing both, or would you prefer to just stick with stunts?
I have just very recently decided to dive into acting more, and I was willing to face that fear.
Okay.
Because I don't want to, leave the earth with untapped potential and whatnot. So I might not be as good at it as I would like, but I can always do better. It's a different muscle that you have to work.
Yeah.
It's a different thing within yourself that you have to tap into. That's what it is I'm learning.
Yeah.
But it's not completely foreign to me. It's just that I know the lines are coming now versus when they say, "Hey, you got to say this." I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had a question for you. I don't know if it's different or if it's all the same when you're on practical sets or when you're on like a green screen set for like stunts. I mean, is there a big difference, or is that kind of work the same way? Or
I would say that when you are in Infinity War and Endgame, there was a lot of fighting invisible enemies and taking hits from people that weren't hitting you.
Really?
and it was all on green and blue screen and whatnot. And so I would say that, excuse me, having a practical set tends to help you figure out the environment that you're in,
Right.
Versus thinking about where it is that you are or could be without having it described to you.
Yeah.
On a green or a blue screen.
Okay.
Like there's been it's indicative of the Marvel movies. You get in there and you see a blue screen, you're like, I don't know what the environment is going to look like
Yeah.
at all about what it is I'm getting ready to do. But seeing it helps. Seeing it definitely helps. Working on Guardians, I know we did one thing that was like half practical set, half blue screen, but the blue screen was way above us.
Okay.
And the other parts were just practical, like it's called Nowhere, the Celestial Head Planet.
Yeah.
And so inside there, like the town and everything, like the city, all of that stuff was made, and it really helps. It really helps you know where it is that you are versus having to think about what could be. So I would say that having at least the practical set kind of helps.
And when you previs those fights, the choreo and all that, do you do that? Try to do it at the actual set, or do you go to a different place instead of cardboard boxes? How's that work?
Oh yeah, so it's definitely the cardboard box room, the previs room, whichever room is designated for that. Sometimes if you're working a big model film, it could be one of the stages that's coordinated or just designated for the stunt team. That's where we build the fights, and then we'll take it, and then if we're able to shoot it or previs it where it's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
And of course, that we get to shoot it over there, because then the riggers have to go rig up whatever it is they have to rig up based on what it is, what the set allows, and figure that out also over there. But yeah, so if we have access to that area to shoot it in, that gives the director an idea of what it's going to look like on the day.
And then, like, how often does the previs change? Do you guys like sit down, kind of like a table talk, and figure out, like, kind of action by action what the fight's going to look like, and you change it there? Do you change it during the previs, or sometimes even on camera? How's that work?
Oh, it changes all the time.
Yeah,
it changes all the time. It changes all the time, and it literally changes at the director's discretion.
Oh.
So we come up with a fight, and we're like, "Hey, check this out."
Yeah.
And he's like, or she's like, nope, not this. And we make changes. They give us notes, and then we'll go and rework it.
Okay.
And then, I would say probably between the fourth and the seventh version lies what's going to make it camera.
Yeah. Okay. Do you guys do your own previs shooting, or does the camera department offer something? You guys do it yourself? So there you go.
Yeah, do it ourselves.
You're dipping into the technical field too. That's wild.
Yeah. So that's what I said, and this is something that I would like to get into, but it can be expensive. These cameras that they have now are just they look like proton cannons.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things with stunt guys. It becomes less about what the stunts are building fights, and it goes into the action design era, and you have to know which lenses, how to shoot, which angles, how to catch these things.
Yeah.
And these guys, they literally learn on the fly, and you just start dabbling, get a bunch of guys together, and it's like, hey, let's shoot this, and then next thing you know, the stunt coordinator is bringing you on to shoot the fights, and you're saying, hey, I need this here, I need this there, and you're reworking everything like that. And then he sits down, takes the footage, edits it, and then sends that off to the stunt coordinator. The stunt coordinator sends it off to the director, and then we, go through that whole process.
Yeah, you think like today, stunt coordinators should be like second or third, or maybe even the director. Like I watched Wick is Pain, that documentary, and how that they just set up like the new action scene for film, and they yes, it's an action movie, but the way that they were able to develop story with action instead of just like story, chop, action sequence, chop, back to story. Yeah.
The thing that always sets the tone for the fight. It's something that has to move the story along.
Yeah.
It shouldn't just be a fight to fight.
Right.
It's what is being accomplished by fighting, or what is being accomplished that only fighting can solve.
Okay.
And so that brings the audience into it, and that lets you know who it is that you're rooting for.
Right.
Because what has to happen if this person wins, and what happens if they lose.
Right.
Or, vice versa and whatnot. And so it's always, it can't just be we're fighting.
Uh-huh.
There's a big dude at the end of the hallway, and he won't let us pass that door. You have to fight him now. No, it's not like that. There has to be passion in the fight.
Yeah. It's interesting how in each department there's like the same kind of like the core logic in how story is written, even from stunts to special effects to visual effects to set design. Everybody kind of, I think, sticks to the same core beliefs in story production. So it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I gotta ask, what was Dublin for Batista like?
It was one of the coolest things that I've ever done.
Yeah.
It was literally, it was unreal.
Yeah. You spent a lot of time with them?
It was unreal. I didn't spend a lot of time with them. I mean, we did what? I guess it just was 4 movies.
Yeah.
Infinity War, Endgame, Guardians 3, and the Christmas special.
Okay.
But it was fun, man. Like, I wasn't the main double. I was a secondary double.
Okay.
And each time I had to fight for that.
Yeah.
I had to fight for that. It was and it wasn't me, again trying to take somebody else's job. It was more of, I want to be useful.
Right.
And I want to grow in my career.
Right.
And getting to do Drax wasn't easy at all. Like, we started out shooting Infinity War, or coming with Infinity War in 2016.
Right.
Started filming in 2017, and all the characters had first and second doubles, and then they cut all the second doubles. So I got cut, and I was just like, oh my God. And Sam was just like, he's like, not anything personal, it's not because of you, it's just somebody else's job. Okay, cool. But that same assistant film coordinator that I was talking to you about, who asked me how many dead men I have, he came to my house later on that summer with 2 other friends of mine, and I asked him, I was just like, what are the chances of me being able to do the Q-ship scene?
Mm-hmm.
And the Q-ship scene is where the Guardians meet the Avengers in the Q-ship that they just stole from Ebony Maw, which is like a really no-no sorcerer.
Yeah.
He was like, I got you, probably like a 5% chance.
Okay.
I was like, okay. And so I just trained and ate a lot of food, and I got myself up to where it was that I was just seeing it and envisioning it always. And then mid-September, I got a phone call.
You got it.
So what are you doing, these dates? And I was just like, doing my gym. And so it turned into those dates changed, and then it ended up being more days. It went from, I think, 1 day to 3.
Wow.
And so it came out to be, they called me and was just like, hey man, be here at 5:30 in the morning. I got there at 3 o'clock in the morning.
That's wild. So
3 a.m. I got there because I literally couldn't sleep.
That's wild. When you're building your body to match or perform, are you matching Batista? Are you matching the character? How's that work?
I was matching him. So he's 6'3", and the thing is, like, if you've seen Batista, like, I actually saw Dave in the Gold's Gym on Glebe Road before I actually got into stunts in DC, in Arlington, Virginia, because he's from DC also.
Oh, okay.
And this is when he was still wrestling, and I saw him, and I was just like, "Oh my god,
it's huge."
I've always been a big wrestling fan, so I knew Batista on wrestling back when he was really big.
Yeah. So so he walked in, and I'm like, that dude's not gonna fit through the door.
Yeah.
He's gonna come sideways, and he walked in there sideways. I was like,
wow.
And so it just came full circle, man. And I told him about that. I was like, dude, I saw you in New York, in the same gym one time.
Yeah.
And I told him about it. He's like, oh, no shit. Oh, yeah, dude. I was just like, but, when I started working out, I would say probably like 29 to 3,500 calories a day,
Wow.
10 months straight. And I was trying to make sure that I looked like him and what it is that I saw him do, or what it is that I saw him. And so I ended up getting up to about, because he's taller than me. He's 6'3". He's 6'3". He's a tall 6'3".
Yeah.
But he said he was having some issues with his spine cartilage. I think he said he was getting shorter.
Okay.
Great for me.
Yeah. I guess.
So he was getting so I ended up being to scale. I ended up getting to about 290 pounds.
Yeah.
To his 270, and we looked almost identical on screen.
I'm sorry, that sounds miserable. So, the amount of exercise and eating that you have to do. What are you doing? 6 meals a day?
At least.
Oh,
at
my
least.
God.
But let me tell you, like I said, that day they called me in there. I went in there, and there was a whole makeup team in there.
Yeah.
And this guy asked me, Brian, he was just like, so you want this? I was like, you have no idea I want this. And so they just started like painting me, rolling on the gray paint, putting on the transfers. I look at my chest, they got the things on, and and they start putting the stuff on my face, my back, and the back of my head, and all my back. It's a whole process.
Yeah.
And so, and then once they're done, once all of these 5 or 6 people move, they've turned you into a superhero.
That's wild.
They're not just like,
yeah.
This is me.
I waited till I got back to my trailer to cry.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
That totally did.
I bet. That's awesome. I couldn't imagine. So you put yourself through all that for a 5% chance to get the role, and it paid off.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it for 100% chance. I'm telling you right now. That's impressive, man. Man, I have so many questions, but I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Is there anything that you got coming out that you want to promote?
Not particularly right now. The industry has taken a dive, as you probably already know.
Mm-hmm.
So there isn't too much going on, but we're always hopeful. We're always trying to figure out new ways to make things happen.
Okay.
So I have full faith that something will happen. Something will come out eventually. But I mean, like, you guys can always watch.
Yeah.
The Guardians Christmas special and Red One, because there are Christmas movies.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. My kids have definitely seen it, definitely enjoyed it. We might spin it up again this year. So,
well, I did want to ask you something we always ask everybody. Is there one actor or actress that you've worked with that kind of left you kind of starstruck?
I think you just said Dave Bautista.
Well, I don't know. Maybe there's different.
I mean, there's been so many. Like I'm literally in awe of a lot of them. Like a lot of them I used to watch as a young child. Like I remember. In one particular instance that came full circle for me was working on Red One, and I wanted to work with The Rock, and I wanted to double him. I got the opportunity to do his flying on Black Adam, which he probably has no idea, But I was in a motion capture suit. I was doing all the flying, everything. They put me in this chest harness, and doing all the stuff.
That's cool.
And I have a whole big thing about, I trained for that also. I trained for that in water because I didn't have access to wires. So Terry Notary trained Brandon Ruth that way for Superman Returns.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, that's the perfect way to train for flying. Yeah. So that's what I did. I got a wetsuit, jumped in the water, started doing that. So, but it was probably like, I don't know, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And, I watched this movie, and he said, man, I understand what you guys are going through. He said, and I hated every minute of it too. And a couple years ago, I did this movie called Dune, and I was like about to pass out, and I was perked up because that was the movie that really solidified me wanting to do stunts, because there was a fight between him and Carl Urban, which I thought was like a perfect action scene, watching this very large man move like a smaller person against a smaller person.
Yeah.
And of course, he had on like the makeup and whatnot. I was just like, wow. It just came full circle for me. And that was one of the greatest moments that I can remember from that movie.
That's cool.
That was a tough one.
Yeah. Did you work out with The Rock?
Yeah, there's so many. I haven't worked out with him. Nope. I haven't really said too many words to him. Haven't worked out with him. Haven't had too many conversations. But I mean, I've been in a bunch of movies.
Yeah. Well,
I was in Fast 8. I did Red One. Did Black Adam.
Wow.
Previs for Red Notice. Yeah.
That's awesome. You're a good guy for us to circle back to eventually. You seem like you have a ton of stories.
I'll be around, man.
Yeah. So
I do.
Definitely want to keep his number, Mitch. So, all right. Well, hey, we're going to let you go. Thanks for taking some time off on your Sunday to hang out with us. And we really appreciate it.
Of course, man.
All right. Gary Peebles.
Thank you so much. All right.